So this is going to be a bit of a preview of what I'm bringing to VCF West 2023. Our exhibit name is Supercharged Max of the 90s and 2000s, and we are actually going to be co-exhibiting with a very similar exhibit with which we became friends with last year, Maxed Apple Workstations of yesteryear. So these are the two machines, and this was going to be very different only a few days ago because below all this lies the G4 Sawtooth that I was going to bring with a 1.4 gigahertz processor in it. Unfortunately, that machine has started to act a bit erratic, and it's going to take a little more troubleshooting, so I really want to get that machine dialed in more before I consider bringing it to a VCF event. So we have here the 9600 and a very old returning friend, the blue and white G3. But first, we have on top, just out of frame, a PowerBook G4. This is going to be the rescue box for both of these machines because it runs Tiger, and it is old enough to be able to act as a bridge machine for both of these boxes here. So the 9600 has gotten some substantial upgrades. First off is the addition of a Kansas board, which this used to have a Tsunami board. It used to be a 9600/200, which meant it had the weaker Tsunami board in it, which isn't as good for G3 and G4 upgrades due to ROM differences. So now this thing is much better equipped to handle the G3 that's currently in it. What also has changed is the G3 upgrade that's in it. Not by much, though. This thing now has a Sonnet G3 in it. Same specs as the newer tech that was in it. And the reason I switched out is because Maxed Apple Workstations actually has a clone in the background that I've been working on, and that is based on the PowerMac 9500, which has the older ROMs, which aren't as good for G3, G4 upgrades. And apparently the newer tech card is actually better for those types of machines because it implements a fix in hardware rather than software like the Sonnet does. The Sonnet is, to some, considered to be inferior because it implements this fix in software rather than hardware. For this machine, the fix is not needed, therefore the Sonnet card is going to actually sing a little bit better in here. This is all going off a forum post on macOS 9 Lives, so that's where I got my information. So let's go ahead and fire this thing up. Now, we can't do it from the front because unfortunately the power switch on this board is broken. I actually need to repair that at some point. So I'll go to the keyboard, and you might be able to notice the purple hue at the bottom here, and that's not because of the Sonnet card that's in it. However, that's why I set that to purple. I did get some RGB light strips, and I have a little remote here that I can barely just hit the IR sensor from down here, and if it wants to play nice, I can change it from outside the case. Pretty cool. I can also pull this down and show you the interior. I have the IR sensor kind of mounted on the back side of the little green plastic here, which makes it very easy to hit. So I can change the color to whatever I want. I could just have it be white. I could have it cycle colors if I really wanted to. Could have it just fade in and out. I think it only supports white for fade in and fade out, or at least as wide as it's trying to be. And I can go back to colors again. But I like to just have it a static color because I feel that's better. And the purple kind of signifies the Sonnet very well here, so I like to leave it as purple. And I moved the existing light strip up here. Now, I do want to make one small change. There we go, that looks a little bit better, don't you think? Maybe, maybe not. Pretty cool. So let's get this thing closed back up. So this bit is going to be mostly the same between the two machines because they're going to be running identical versions of software. Here we have a spiffy looking background that I've made for all of the machines going to VCF West with me. So let's go ahead and get some games going. Now, to prevent some of these from getting unmounted, I've actually got the discs mounted as virtual images with the Blue SCSI V2. So I don't have to worry about them getting ejected mistakenly, or I suppose the more appropriate use in this case, because they can still be ejected, is if somebody shuts down the machine, I could just start it right back up and the discs will remount. So we've got Marathon, Marathon 2, Marathon Infinity, Pathways into Darkness, Quake, which you can go ahead and fire that up. That shouldn't require the CD. I was about to say, or it could just crash on me. But as we can see, okay. I do have Quake 3 on the G3. However, Quake 3 is not going to run on this machine, at least not very well. Interesting. Yeah, that's Quake. Interesting. It would look like I have not installed Unreal Tournament. Well, we'll play Unreal then. Unreal, even though it is period correct for this machine, runs a little bit rough. And I'm thinking that's because the GPU in here is a little bit newer than it's expecting, because the GPU in here is no less than the Radeon 9200 PCI. Then again, I could just have really high expectations for this machine that I shouldn't be having. I haven't really gone terribly far. Game's running somewhat okay, but also because we are not outside, we're not going to play this too long because I will get distracted. We have StarCraft, which I have both Brood War and StarCraft CD mounted because depending on what you want to play, this game will require one or the other. So, single, and yeah, if you pick original, it'll want the original CD. If you want expansion, so I'm going to do, because I have not played anything. Start the mission right off. And I mean, it's StarCraft. What do you expect? It's going to run perfectly fine. StarCraft will run on a potato for the most part. We have full tilt, which I believe all but Skullduggery will not work on this machine because it is simply running too fast. But as you can see, it runs perfect. Diablo 2 is a game that I have spent many an hour on. And this is one of the games one of my friends ran on this kind of machine back in the day. And we were lucky to get it even at playable frame rates. Because we were like, whoa, Diablo 2, it actually requires a G3 processor. Holy moly. I cannot believe it. That soundtrack. Struggles a little bit, but it's kind of playable. I usually go in here and we turn everything down because, yeah, the 9200 LE can handle it, but the CPU cannot. As you can see, it leaves a bit to be desired. But also, Diablo 2 is a very unoptimized game. Even on a machine that was much better than this, it runs like absolute junk. But hey, this was better than not running it at all, which is what we had the choice of back when this machine was kind of the object of my lust. But yeah, that's Diablo 2. So I'm not going to run through all the games here because we'll be here forever. But that is what we're running. And we're still kind of stuck at 256 megs of RAM. Not much I can really do about that because, yeah, RAM for this machine is not cheap, unfortunately. And I really hope that the Satanic Mac Club at some point, like, just busts open the market on this. I know many people who do have RAM for it. But, like, that's my retirement plan because it's worth so much money. So let's look at System Profiler, and you can see PowerPC G3 at 400 megahertz, all this wonderful stuff, because I was trying to troubleshoot some network stuff on a previous video that never happened because I realized I'm dumb. If we go here, we have a crash. Wonderful stuff. So I think that's going to wrap up this machine. So let's talk about the G3. So I think we could talk about the G3 well enough from the back side here, because you can see a lot of what kind of makes this a little unique, so to speak. So this has a G4 in it. It actually has a ZIF G4 from Neurotech, which is pretty cool. I actually sold this to Garth almost a year ago, and I actually reached out to him because I needed the CPU out of this machine on a loan basis, because I had to bring a backup machine for the G4 because that was acting erratic. So I was going to G4 upgrade my G3 mini tower and bring that along instead. So what Garth did was he said, why don't you just take the whole machine? And said, hey, you can have it back because you've got more plans for it than I do. So very much thanks to Garth for making this possible. So it's got a 400 megahertz G4 in it. I've wanted to play with overclocking it, but I don't want to tempt fate at this point. We have it hooked up via DVI. We have a Firewire USB combo card. We have also Firewire and USB built in, but we also have ADB, which is pretty cool. So yeah, let's go ahead and fire this machine up. So this machine has been also retrofitted with SATA. It has a SATA optical drive because the IDE one was starting to act a little bit erratic, and it also has a SATA SSD in it. So this machine gets the full kit of upgrades that the 9600 has pretty much. So it's on the same level, fits with the exhibit, and pretty cool. This is also the very same G3 that I did an ATA chip swap on, and it's not coming up with video because... So yeah, this is a system I've done the ATA chip swap on because Kai Robinson actually pointed me at the Revision 2 ATA chip for this machine. It's just a drop-in replacement so long as you have the soldering skills to do so. So I did that with a hot air station and, well, it works. So, yep, there we go. Now we're working perfectly fine. Max power G4. That's why I don't want to really mess with this machine too much, because of the stability problems just like that. We are booted off the SSD, and I do have this fully mirrored to the ATA drive inside, so that way if the SATA card decides to fail or something happens to it, I can just boot off the ATA drive and the exhibit can chug right along without any issues. I do have Quake 3 on here, which is the one game we're going to play. Also Flappy Mac, because I'm not sure why that isn't on the 9600, but... So let's play some Quake 3, because this machine can actually run it. Oh yeah. Oh no, whatever will I do? LGR knows the way. So, I'm not sure when this happened or whatever, if somebody patched it or if id Software patched it eventually, but they patched Quake 3 to take anything as a CD key, so yeah. So I already have this set up as VCF West. So let's go ahead and play a quick round of Quake 3 against the computer. Now, the point of this exhibit is going to be to have this all networked up, so that way people can kick the crap out of each other over the network in like Quake, StarCraft, stuff like that. So, we'll see how that goes. I'm expecting it to fail miserably. We'll see where it goes. Come back. Come back. Oh! Where are you going? There we go. Yeah, that's Quake 3 on the G3. And I have thought up some creative names for both of these machines, which kind of brings me to the other friendo that's going to be exhibiting with us. So the 9600, as some have known on social media, I've called the Madman's Dream because I wanted to upgrade the absolute crap out of this machine, even if it's really all for nothing at the end of the day because of the slow bus speed. Like, The G3 in here ultimately is kind of not in here as in the G3 blue and white. The G3 in the 9600 is ultimately kind of strangled by the slow bus speed. Same with the 9200 LE. But it's fun, so it's kind of the point. And the V2 comes from all the upgrades I've done since, like the upgrade to the RGB lighting, which I don't plan to make it rainbow vomit, it's okay. But the upgrade to the blue SCSI V2, the upgrade to the Kansas board, it's all kind of a nice little package. And that's kind of funny because the guy co-exhibiting with us, me and Ryan, goes by AKA Madman, and so it's kind of a fun little unintentional pun because I had named this machine before I knew who he was or had even met him, so kind of fun that is. But the G3, or the G3 Blue and White, has been named Sky Killer because I fanboy Horizon Forbidden West a little too much, and that's kind of one of the more badass weapons in that game, and I've actually put this all in the info cards for both of these machines. So that's really it for the video. I guess see you at VCF West 2023 if you're going, because it is going to be a loaded show. It is going to be amazing. There are so many exhibits happening. This year is very, very loaded compared to last year. Hopefully I'll see you there. Come say hi. I'll have stickers and business cards, and say hi to me and introduce yourself. That's it for this video. Hopefully I'll see you at VCF West in a little over a week from the filming of this video. Kind of depends on when I get around to editing it. I'm going to try on that tonight. But yeah, till next time, I'll see you guys later.